The final thing that I wish to say about Ramadan and its departure from us is something that I've reflected about quite regularly in Ramadan, more so than other Ramadans, is the nature of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam, and how Ramadan impacted him, and how we should learn from that and in turn be impacted by Ramadan. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, as we know from the hadith that describes his actions in Ramadan, he would be كان أجود الناس. He would be the most generous of people. وأجود ما يكون في رمضان, and the most generous that he would be was in the month of Ramadan. And this would take place when Jibreel alayhi salatu wasalam used to meet with him, when they used to recite and study the Quran between one another every night in the month of Ramadan. And then the hadith goes on to describe him as being more generous than the rain-bringing winds. And the commentators, the shurah of the hadith, explain that this means his generosity was more blessed than winds that bring the rain. And for people who live in an agrarian society, the rain-bringing winds is essentially the life-bringing winds, because when the rain falls, plants grow, crops grow, animals eat, humans prosper, everything just goes well. So his generosity, alayhi salatu wassalam, was even more than that. What we learn from this, there are several beautiful lessons that we can learn from this, but what I personally take from this is how we can see whether Ramadan is in fact having, or has in fact had that ideal effect on us. How do you know if you were impacted by Ramadan? How do you know if you took from Ramadan what you were meant to take, what the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam took from Ramadan? Are we only meant to take the forgiveness and then go back and do the same mistakes again and then need that forgiveness again when the next Ramadan comes? Or is there supposed to be something else that we take along with us? So I believe this hadith holds the answer to that question. The Prophet ﷺ was affected by the spiritual acts of Ramadan and the spiritual company of Ramadan and the recitation of the Quran in Ramadan and the activities during the night in Ramadan. And the effects of his spirituality could be seen through his actions of generosity. So if we really want to know whether Ramadan affected us or had an impact on us, what we really need to look at is, are we moved now outside of Ramadan? Are we moved to be more generous? Are we moved to affect those around us with our generosity and with our kindness? For if Ramadan had its desired effect on our hearts and on our minds and on our bodies and on our souls, then the effects of that should be seen on our limbs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq. La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah.